Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I'm going to be doing a sketchbook tour of all the creepy, spooky things I watercolored for October of 2025. Let me show you the supplies I used first. This whole thing wouldn't have been possible without Revlon helping me dry it. This is a very affordable portable dryer. I believe right now it's on sale today for $11 US. It also comes in yellow, and that's fun. Okay, so this was all monochromatic. I used the Daniel Smith Lunar Black. They have multiple blacks in their collection, in their series, but this is their most granulating black. So they also have Ivory Black, let me think, Lamp Black, McCracken Black. They have a bunch, and then they have a bunch of really cool grays. So if granulating watercolors aren't for you, do check out some of their other ones because they do have a variety. Granulating just means it has varying particle size, so when you add a lot of water and you put the pigment down and it blooms, it starts to separate and get really strange and make patterns and really interesting designs. The other paint I used is Hotline gouache. I only use this on a couple of them as a time-saving thing, and I'll show you when we get there. So that's a really good gouache. I used 3 brushes. 2 were the Winsor Newton Cotman. I used a 4 round and a 00, which is 2/0 if you go to buy it, round. And these are very affordable, and I replace them every 2 to 3 years. And then this big guy, and this is a Filbert by Royal and Langnickel. I'm not sure. It says 22. He's a bigger one. He is beat up and super old, but we use our supplies here, so that's what it looks like. And I went through about almost half the tube for this drawing challenge. And then just a cheapy palette where I broke up the blacks and had a variety of value range with the water. So let's get started. This is one I made. So I have a Strathmore 500 series roll of paper, and it's their 100% cotton, and it's a little bit thinner. I'll throw up the weight if you're curious. So I only tend to watercolor on this one-sided, otherwise I get transfer. And then I did embroidery floss. This is my version of a Coptic binding. This is my second time doing a Coptic binding. In total in my life, I have bound under 10 things. So I am trying to practice, I am trying to get better. This measures about 7 US inches by 8 US inches, and it's 32 pages. So perfect for a 31 month. Drawloween 2025, October. This is from Mab's Drawloween. I will link her Instagram. This is my 3rd time doing this watercolor challenge. So I will link the other 2. I did it in 2022 of October and in 2021 of October. And for those, I did indigo, and it was a mix, a black and blue mix, so it's more light fast, and I also did it monochromatically. So let's get ready. I'm saying this is creepy, and that's relative to me, but that's subjective in general. So typically I tend to do a lot of portraits, a lot of animals, so making myself watercolor hands is really hard. Spooky intro. I have the prompts list right here. So this is my spooky intro, bound 1. You're Familiar, which is sort of like an animal that helps a witch, and I did a black cat with the best teeth ever because I love cats. Witch, and again I have transfer anyway, so this is just a witch with some rings holding a cauldron. Again, I'm not good at watercoloring hands, so I was trying to make myself practice. This is Haunting. And I have a lot of forest scenes. I live in the forest, so for me, I find the forest to be very inspirational. And I try to incorporate that and do some more landscapes. Yeah. Forest sprite. So, little mushroom guys in the forest. I don't know. I love mushrooms so much. Werewolf. Again, I don't know. I'm trying. I feel like I've done this prompt before. There's some I've done, I know for sure I've done before. So I hope that as the years progress, I am getting better. This is Ghoul. Again, sort of a little forest. And I try to incorporate birds whenever possible, just because I love I love birds. Incorporate what you love. This is lightning lad. I have no idea what a lightning lad is. I tried to look it up. I didn't have time to message her, and that's just poor planning on my part. And I think maybe it's a Marvel superhero? I'm not sure. So I just negative spaced some white and yeah, he's holding on to lightning. This is undead. So this is my zombie lady. And any excuse to do a portrait, because I love portraits so much. People are so like stunning. Dark water, so I have someone in the water. I know, these are kind of creepy for me. And I gave her the big eye thing. Why does she have big eyes? I don't know, maybe the water's really cold. This one is pumpkin, and I've had this prompt before, and one year I painted a lioness and I decided her name was Pumpkin, but this year I really decided like, no, do an actual pumpkin, because I don't think I've ever watercolored one before. So again, good practice. This is yokai, and I know for sure I've done this prompt several times. So let me think if I can get the information I have on this one. Yokai is like a Japanese mythology thing, and they're kind of like, the one I did specifically is a shapeshifter. So a Jorgamuno, I don't think I pronounced that. I'll put it up here. It is a woman that can be also a spider. And the yokai are supposed to be like really beautiful, mesmerizing. Some of them are kind of ghostly. I tried to reproportion her face so it looked a little off. I didn't want her to look human. And so like, it's the knowing the rules so you can break them. And so I hope when you look at this, the face makes you a little like uncomfortable. I just tweaked some of the things a little bit to try and make the proportions strange, because she's not supposed to be human. So again, I tried a thing. I don't know. This is Omen. So I went for like ravens, crows, birds. My love of birds cannot be silenced. I love them so much. This is vampire. And yeah. A lot of fun. I've never done all black monochromatic before, so this was definitely like getting the huge value range of dark to light and breaking out of that. I didn't use the full page on some of these, and I'm okay with it just because I tried every day. This is Lovely Bones. I think these two were out of order. I accidentally skipped a page, so. And then this is a bird skull. I think this might be a crow too. Let's see. Yeah, this is a crow skull. So, and then I tried watercoloring a pedestal. I don't, like, there's just certain things I never watercolor or draw. And so I tried. This is a gnome. And I can't for the life of me figure out why I decided a gnome had to be like male presenting. But in my mind, that's what happened. So this is my version of a gnome, and I definitely need to work on facial hair more, because that's not a thing I ever do. Baby Yaga, and I had to, I asked my eldest because I wasn't sure what this was, and she said it's a type of witch. And when I looked it up, they talk about the house. She lives in a house that has chicken legs that move and walk around, and I was like, yes. Can we do that, please? I don't watercolor a lot of like urban things or homes or architecture, and so this was a lot of fun. It was definitely weird in the forest, but yeah, overdoing a person, this is definitely much more fun for me. Spellbook. Now, I've done the Hocus Pocus book before, but I think that prompt that year was 13, so I'll throw up that picture. So I tried to do one that was like locked, like a grimoire, and I don't know how successful it was. It was just really fun. I was listening to an audiobook and just doing thousands of striations across the page of varying darknesses, and it was just very meditative. So it may not be visually interesting, but it was so relaxing to watercolor. And sometimes it's like that. Mushroom, instead of going for just like a strategic mushroom in our forest, I did a mushroom lady. So I hope you enjoy that. And working on rocks. Yeah, so I tried it a couple different ways. I went really dark with this one. And I went much paler with this one. This one was Toad, and I definitely don't watercolor enough like amphibians at all. So this is a Sonoran desert toad, and they make the best noises. If I get to pick, I'm gonna go fun with it. But really, any excuse to incorporate animals is awesome. Finfolk. So this is my version of like a mermaid. And again, it's kind of hard. I've done mermaid, oh my goodness, 4 or 5 times. I even did like an animal version of it and just gave them like mermaid tails. So I'm a little burned out on mermaids. So this was trying to incorporate, I'm trying to keep it themed where the people in the water have a little bit of face showing. So it all looks like it flows together, even though I did it in one order. I couldn't mix the pages up because they were already folded and bound. This is lantern. I never do lanterns. I don't know. So I did kind of an interesting, maybe dryad or being or some sort of entity that has antlers. Web. Okay. Definitely gouache. So I don't know if you can see the white, but I tried to do like a web with water droplets. I'm not big on, I don't know, spider things too much. So I was trying to keep it with the other spider I did, so everything flows, but I just thought water droplets would look more interesting. So it's kind of a very thick web, has a little bit of plant life. I don't know. It's not my favorite. I don't think it's the most visually interesting. Candy Creep. This is another one I took some liberties. So I think her prompt is in regards to this animatronic guy you can buy, and he's like holding out a lollipop. I'll throw a picture of him. I think you could buy him in like Halloween supply stores. He like has a lollipop and a hammer behind his back. And I was like, no, nope. Let's practice hands again. So again, practicing hands. Ghostwriter, again, I really like doing skulls. I think skulls are a lot of fun. I've never watercolored fire before and it shows, but I tried. I did try. I did do the thing. So I'm calling it a win because I could have flubbed it and tweaked it and made it work into my comfort zone, and I didn't do that. Laboratory. I don't watercolor glass. Or bottles. I don't do any, or reflections. This was really hard. This took way longer than, yeah, it probably looks, because I just don't do this sort of thing, which is really, really good for me. All this is really good for me. Poison plant, and I did wolfsbane. Excuse me, I'm gonna cough real quick. Sorry about that. So I've never watercolored wolfsbane before. I've done poison ivy in one of the Drawloween challenges before, and I went really moody with it. And you can really see the wet on wet with the granulation. It's very textured. It's just really unique. It's a lot of fun. This is Swarm. So I tried to do like a bee swarm and then have birds for perspective and then add a little landscape. Again, I don't really landscape a lot. So this was a lot of fun trying to figure out layers and foreground and a little background. UFO, I know I've done this one before, this prompt. I hope this is better than the last time I did it. Again, forest, like foreground, middle ground, background, little dude, little dude, goth moth. Now I know I've done moth before. I did Mothra, and then for one I did the Silence of the Lambs cover that has a really cool moth. So what I tried to do with this one, because I wanted to incorporate glass again, is I took a little bit of this gouache and I tried to give like window glares. I don't know if this was successful. So you're like looking through a window at a moth on the glass. I tried a thing. That's what this whole sketchbook is, me just trying stuff, throwing stuff and seeing what sticks. This was the last one, Rest in Peace. So I did a cemetery within a landscape. So this is what I did for the month of October. I think, I'm not gonna lie, stippling, this took at least 2 hours. Most of these were 2 hours. I think the one that took the longest was 2.5, and the one that was the shortest was 1.5 hours, and that was still with me blow drying layers and making sure certain things were dry before I went back in. Like I did a layer of gray, And then I did the dark gray plants and the birds. And then I did the white cobweb with shadow within some of the drops. So these were definitely like layers, a layer of gray. And then I went in with the person, and then I made sure I had a medium gray background and a light gray foreground, and then added some other textural elements. So it's a process of trying to figure out like negative space and denoting water. Like I don't do a lot of water. I don't do a lot of landscapes. There's so many things I just don't do a lot of. And my comfort zone is portraits and animals. So to make some of these things kind of fun and cute was a lot of fun, to try and get a little creepy spooky, to try and incorporate birds in most pages so there's like a flow, a general curation, so it looks like even though these are separate topics, all the pages belong together. Yeah, I don't know. I went full polka dot. Like I was just trying all the things, but boy do I love doing skulls. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. It's just this side of Weird and Wonderful. Again, I don't often do a drawing challenge where I follow every single prompt, even though I do creator drawing challenges from month to month to month to month. Following the prompts is an extra level of work. It just is. So to make it easy on myself, I made sure I used a paper I was very comfortable with, a watercolor I was comfortable with. I only used one color, so there's no decision fatigue. I didn't spend hours trying to color mix and match different skin tones and things like that. I just tried to make things as easy as possible because I knew following these prompts of things I've never watercolored before was going to be a real challenge. And again, trying to do hands, which is something I never do. I like skeleton hands. I like bones. For some reason, bones really speak to me, but everything else I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Do I have a favorite? I think this is my eldest's favorite. She thinks that one's super cute. I don't think I have a favorite. I'm just, when I see this in its entirety, because I haven't done a flip through before, I make sure I'm all done and then I do the first flip through all the way through with you in a sketchbook tour video. I see the work. I see the over 60 hours of work. And I think it was a success, especially with the dental pain I'm currently having, and I have upcoming surgeries and things. Some of these days were really, really hard to turn out, but being able to, for 2 hours, just sit and listen to an audiobook, listen to some music, listen to some things that I really enjoy, some podcasts, some things like that. It was very nice. It was very rewarding. It's just October is such a cold, wet month that drying times without a hairdryer would be impossible. October through March, those 6 months, it's just too wet. Like our humidity is almost 100% every single day. Like even though it's not raining, it's over 80% humidity. So the forest has to get the moisture from the air. The trees need water. So yeah, it just makes drying time a little bit more complicated. And again, this is really wet, so I'm gonna have to clean this up before I put it away. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was interesting to you. If you want to see what I create every single day, it's up on my Instagram. I got a lot of these references and ideas from Pinterest. I find that they have stuff that's royalty-free or permission to use. Some of these things were AI. They were like AI generated photos, and I'm having a big kick in my own enjoyment of taking something that's was someone's art that was stolen and done digitally, and then I then take the digital and make it back to art again. So I get a big kick out of doing that. So it'll say on Pinterest whether things have been like AI augmented or adapted, and AI has affected the piece of art. And so I want to turn things back into art again. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week. If you did an October challenge, I know Inktober is really, really popular. I've done that a few times, a few years. I really like Babs Drawloween. There aren't a lot of female-led drawing challenges that are heavily promoted in the sphere of creating. So I try and do hers every year. because I just think her art is weird and wonderful, and I want to support female creators. Okay. All right. And one day I did too, because I had to do the front cover. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.